Good afternoon once again, all of you. Thank you all for joining in for this webinar. The topic for today's session is how do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX is high for your law office. It's a 1-hour CPD session. It's accredited for 1 hour of professionalism CPD. And it's valid across Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, and New Brunswick. I request all of you to take a screenshot of this topic so that you could present it to your respective law society forum and avail their credits. While most of you might have attended this topic earlier, probably same time last year we did the same topic, and it's been almost a year since we did this topic, so we have it here. I understand that as much as we all would love to learn more about compliance in accounting and how do you, keep up with your practice and rest of the informations for disbursements extra, which are part of the CPD topics. There's also this bit of other side of the world, like we say, other side of the practice, where you're having to fulfill certain things for your user experience, for your clients, and the business experience, overall product experience. That's what we're going to see today mostly. While you see the terminologies that says BX, CX, UX, and PX, just letting you know, we're going to see the definitions for these abbreviations, and we're going to see how they're being used, or how they're being how important it is to use them in your day-to-day practice in the legal field especially. And these are part of the agenda. Like every other webinar, of course, we have a set agenda for this webinar as well. We're going to see how critical it is to business for BX, UX, CX, and PX, and the meaning of it, first of all, and also see how it works cohesively together in your business, especially the legal field, for better management and efficiency and overall growth of your business through the services that you're currently offering. Understand how the referral and reputation works to attain the product experience. This is what we're going to probably see in over the next 55 minutes, but we're going to obviously break it into the 4 different components that you're seeing here. While you all might be familiar with the overall experience of your services, because we all go through that part in our day-to-day life with several products that we use, several user services that we consume. But when you, as a legal practitioner running a firm or a practice or a business, how do you attain the overall satisfaction for your client? How do you find out how your client is satisfied on an overall basis with your services that was rendered? Last but not the least, we're also going to see how the tools in today's world, especially practice management and legal accounting softwares, help you to attain this overall satisfaction from your clients. So for the ones who've joined in a little late, just recapping what we just discussed, the topic for today's session is how do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX, which is business experience, customer experience, user experience, and product experience, is as high as it could be for your law office. This is what we're going to see in today's topic, and it's a 1-hour CPD session, 1-hour professionalism CPD to be precise, as uLaw only delivers professionalism CPD, and It is accredited for across 4 provinces, which is Ontario, British Columbia, New Brunswick, and Alberta. I request you all to take a screenshot of this topic, the screen that is there in front of you, so that you can add in the exact details while you're getting the credits. Thank you. I also have my support staff here on the call with me who could be taking few chats. But any questions in specific or anything that you'd like me to repeat, I'd like you to post it on the chat window. Use the chat window for sharing any comments to improve or to let us know, if you have any queries, you need any clarification. I would certainly get to it towards the end of the session and we can discuss further. That is about the topic, and about the agenda was also what we're going to see in detail has been discussed here. And quickly talking about the first component of the 4 that we see here, which is BX, about the business branding, about the brand experience rather for your business. How you should be striving to improve, how you should be putting across the various channels or media that you want to represent your brand in, and making sure that first touch point of your firm with your prospective client or with already retained client, how are you best delivering the quality of service, how are you reaching out to the client, is going to be one of the most important factors to decide the overall brand experience. Initially, at least, this is like the first impression for your client. When your client reaches out to you, how soon you get back to them, how fast rather you get back to them with let's say a client intake form, or with a simple client ID verification, or with a maybe even a quick phone call to let them know that you're sending them the intake form online, or maybe you're asking them to come into office. In fact, during the COVID times when people could not meet at their offices or could not meet in person, uLaw came up with a strategy to easily intake your client using client portal. So these are part of today's world, getting into the technology, using the right tools, using the right channels of communicating with your clients. So which is where your clients feel that you're readily available for them when they need you. So the first impression is what we call as the brand experience. Making sure your brand is available for them, and the values and competencies is all reflected in the first few meetings, at least the first couple meetings, where you're able to best deliver all that they need, and they're able to feel the touch and experience, give the first impression, the best impression as you can, ensuring that is the part of brand experience. That's what we say BX here. Various brand tries or uses various methods to imprint confidence in the service that they provide to the client. Each one of you could choose based on various criteria. Some could have a tool like uLaw to instantaneously send out a client intake form using a client portal. Some could send it out by email. Some could ask some to come into the office and fill out a client intake form manually. But whatever is the channel, I mean, of course that in today's fast world, clients prefer saving time, so doing things online, doing things virtually is much more preferred. And that is where the first touch point lies, and that is where the brand experience is conveyed or shown to your client. And there's nothing there's nothing like improvising on your everyday or in your daily uh, touch point with your client. While BX is about the first touch point with your client, CX is from the time you start the engagement with them, from the time you have, let's say, retained the client, or rather, you've completed the client intake and moved on with the retainer engagement and proceeded further with other correspondence with your client. So this is where the customer experience lies. This is where it starts, rather. The journey starts here, where the client walks into your office with confidence, of course, thinking that you're going to be there for them on the first phone call, at the email or chat. Let's say they reach out to you on through website, over the chat, any channel, any mode of channel or any media, experiencing that various touch points, multiple touch points rather, that the service is being provided at a top-notch level, because this is where it begins. This is where the overall experience for your customer or your client starts. And of course, it starts off with, let's say, a client intake, and it goes on to various correspondences that you might have, and it goes on to until you complete the work, wrap it up, and send it to them with a legal fee invoice, or even a closure letter. Up to that time is where the customer experience lies. It totally depends on how in depth you are able to correspond with your client and provide them the details with a logical exposure, of course. And it begins from a uh, very basic point, where the engagement happens to a very logical exposure of the overall experience of the client. So it is as important as it is, you could see, uh, that even providing a closure letter and saying thank you to the client and documenting each and every correspondence you have with them. This is where various tools again plays a major role in helping you in providing with these documents within no time. So making sure that customer experience is something that you could provide at a very easy cost or at a very easy level. This is where you will have to adapt to a customer experience, or to adapt to providing the customer experience that is like nowhere else. And slowly moving ahead with the next part or the next component of the experience that we're talking today is user experience. After, let's say, all the multi-point touch that happened with you and your client, and the client has engaged you with the services and was so comfortable with corresponding at different point in time, and have agreed that they felt very happy to do this, or to work along with you and your firm, with your colleagues. How do they feel overall? Making sure that every time they've been reached out, you're expanding the experience that they're being offered, making sure there's something new. Could be a digital delivery of documents, could be some link, Google Drive link or OneDrive link that you send it to them, and asking them to upload the documents in there, which can be connected to a program like uLaw with a practice management solution, where everything can be right there within the client's folder and everything can be organized. There's no way you're going to lose any document, or there's no way you're going to miss out on any document, and you're going to have it handy. So the digital delivery, they could be online payments. You don't have to ask them to come into your office, or it could be, a simple client portal where they can do the intake online, and or sending them receipts through email. There's so many different ways, or there's so many different experience that you can give them overall. And this is where the user experience comes into a role, where you are able to not just give them one touch point, or an experience where it is only one time experience, but it's a multi touch point experience where each time they correspond with you, or each time they experience something with your firm, they come across something with your firm, rather, could be a hearing, could be drafting documents that takes place, and they're being sent for a review with the client. It could be any circumstance, but giving that feel to them, expanding that feel each time, is what is known as user experience, where your client is able to understand that you and your team are literally working around the clock to deliver this service, are on top of it, making sure that everything is made totally convenient to them, and that they're feeling out of world, which is actually true when they want to come back to you, or when they want to refer you to their friends. This is the time that they will remember, the user experience, that multi-touch point experience that they faced over the last few days while they worked along with you, or while they received your services, is what will leave back as a memory, or as a impression in their head, so that if they're coming back to you or referring you, it will be so helpful. So user experience is something we all can relate to, in fact, right? So let's assume that we are probably, I can elaborate user experience in upcoming slides, but just to give you a hint that all of us go through so many services, all of us go through so many, let's say, purchasing so many products. We all have, experienced this particular feeling, and this is why we go back. Let's say an Apple user wants to go back, buy an Apple iPad, wants to go back, buy a MacBook Air, wants to go back, buy an Apple iPhone. So why do we go back? It's the overall experience that you face, either with the product or with the service or with the software. I mean, it's the overall experience that prompts you, or that triggers you to keep going back to them. This is why we say that the user experience is something that you should be really careful about while delivering to your client, making sure each and everything, right from the time you give them a document, to the time you converse with them or correspond with them, to the time the work is completed with a closure letter or with a thank you note. It is so important that from every standpoint, they feel that there is nothing beyond reaching out to your firm and recommending it or referring it to their friends, or even for themselves to come back. So that being said, product experience is the last part of, or is the last component of the BX, CX, UX, and PX that we're talking about today. How can you achieve it? How can you make sure it's on the higher side or higher end of it? So with PX being the last component, which is product experience, this is, I would say, the final outcome of all the other three experiences that the client has faced, and it's probably end of the journey with you and your client, rather with the legal firm and the client themselves, making sure right from the time the client intake has been branded to the time the user experience was convenient or even very convenient, making sure everything was well drafted, the correspondence was so easy and clear to understand, was very convenient to communicate. When they left, they left with a very happy feeling, overall experience was worth the time and money. It's not just the money, it's also their time. They don't want to feel that their time was probably not respected. So that is why we say the overall experience has to be worth for both the time and money of your client, making sure that they are going to go back and refer to a friend. There are so many ways in which this journey would have probably ended, but making sure that your client had the most happy memories of your product experience and overall experience, and ensuring that there's nothing beyond coming back to you for any other services. They could have reached out to you for small claims, but they in the future they would think of you if they have a family matter or if they have wills and estate, if you're practicing, of course. But ensuring that they come back to you or maybe refer you to a friend. How did he or she feel with the overall outcome of experiencing the BX, CX, and UX is what we call PXs. If your client feels the brand experience that they experienced the first time, or the brand experience that they witnessed the first time, or the first point in touch with your firm to the time there was user experience or customer experience, is all put together as a final outcome, is known as product experience. Before I proceed into the details, let us quickly recap for the ones who joined in a little late. We're talking about BX, CX, UX, and PX, ensuring how we could achieve high for your law office. How we could achieve this to be high for your law office is what we're talking about. And it's a 1-hour CPD session. While we are already 20 minutes to 22 minutes into it, we are making sure that we have seen the definitions of all the 4 components, which is BX, CX, UX, and PX. Let us quickly see what are the importance of having these components, making sure that they are in the right order, they are in the manner it has to be placed into the firm. So this is what we're going to be seeing today within the next 20 minutes. And I'll make sure that you're able to implement this going back into your office. You're able to understand how you could improvise, how you could implement each one of this experience and give this to your client. While we're seeing BX as the first component, we're all able to associate again with the brand experience. As in today's world, everything is about branding. Everything is about making sure we are able to reach out to the client with a strong message, conveying something that they can remember about you. It could be your logo, could be your social media presence, could be some testimonials from your current clients, existing clients, from your your previous clients. Branding is so important that all of these are part of your compliance. It's not just your compliance documents, but all of these are also part of your customer facing documents. That is what I feel is part of BX. And that is also what is majorly part of BX. It's not just about compliance documents always, your invoices. They're also beyond ledgers and journals. There are invoices, there are receipts, there are client intake forms, there are several customer facing documents that you can brand, or it needs to be branded rather, making sure all your logo, your banner, your website details, your social media details, everything is available on all of these customer facing documents, so that when your clients look at these documents, they are basically being reminded that a brand like yours is in existence, first of all, and how they experienced the services that was rendered by you, and making sure that the experience was consistent right from the time you intake the client to the time the thank you note was sent. The message needs to contain all the relevant information that you could put on your invoice so that they can come back, they can reach out to you, so, and they can, share with their friends and family about the experience they had with your firm or with your services. So this is where basically the practice management tool and other document management tool plays a role. This is where we help you with the documents to be branded, and all the customer facing documents. Basically, there are tons of documents that are just not ledgers and journals. Like I said, there could be settlement statements, there could be statement of activity. Some clients can have ask you for what happened in their trust, what happened in their general. So it's like you can make sure that all of these documents that you're giving them are going to be branded. And there are several tools and automation process that helps you to brand consistently and effectively. And that is what uLaw does. If you upload the logo and banner within the program, you would see it coming up on all the documents that you download and send to your client. It could be also using a simple client portal, sending across email to the client, and you could help the client by doing a web intake, or by giving digital signatures. Very smooth experience. That is where we are going to look into the next part of this topic, which is customer experience. And before that, I'd like to share a simple example where brand experience, where we all have witnessed brand experience in common, where it could be Starbucks or Tim Hortons. Let's take an example which is right in front of you all, where Starbucks is so commonly visited coffee shop by all of us. How easily we could remember it, because there's a nice logo on it, and they're very popular because we are so thrilled with the gesture that they do with writing down our names, personalizing our coffee, or it could be the tagline that they're using. There can be anything that could make you feel etched with the brand, right? So that is what I am trying to tell you here. Make sure that somehow you're trying to make your client feel etched with your brand, with your service. Something can attract them. It could be something really simple. It could be something really straightforward. It could be a simple experience, or it could be a simple logo. It could be an overall experience, but it all starts with branding. That's what I say. That's why this is one of the first components. So brand experience is something that is so basic, that can be achieved easily in today's world, with all the advertising, networking, marketing, social media, logos, designs, everything that is readily available for you, that can be done in rather no time. This is where it all starts. So try and keep up with your brand, provide that experience to your client, and I'm sure you will see the difference in providing the presence, the media presence to your client. And this will help them to keep you in their mind and come back and again refer you to many other people. All right, so moving on to the next one, which is CX. As we all know, that we already saw, the customer experience starts with the key touch points. Of course, there are multi-touch points where, the first time while you meet the client, you do the intake, and then second time they provide you details for drafting, or there's different correspondences that happen, where part of initial call definitely needs to be more calm and more appealing to your client. of course, I can't use the word aesthetic because let's say you're in a phone call, it's a virtual phone call. Of course, if it's a video call, yes, we all know how to keep it aesthetic. We all like to keep our background nice, or we like to look dressed up. Uh, every small thing into your business definitely matters here. Your customer receives that um, clear message as to how interested you are with convincing them, giving them the confidence and clarity that you're going to legally protect them and make sure that everything that they need in terms of a legal advice is going to be very strong, and the overall experience that they're collecting from these few conversations or touch points that they have with you is going to give them the customer experience that is like nothing else. So this is where, again, practice management plays a role. You're able to send your client the client intake form or client ID verification, give them a retainer letter, explain them in detail what are your responsibilities, what are their responsibilities, detailed documentation of each and every correspondence. This is where docketing plays a role. This is why many of them who do billable time finds it very easy and very nice when they use a program like uLaw, where you just go hit record and start entering all the information through simple speech to text mode. And in today's AI technology, just you don't even have to sit and type 100 words together. So this is where we say making sure that you are in the relevant technology, or you are at par with the relevant technology, upgrading yourself, updating yourself, and implementing it in your firm is very important. So again, it doesn't stop with compliance. There are things beyond compliance. Take that effort to know what are these things that will increase the value of your firm, that will increase the customer experience beyond just giving them what, invoices, or just giving them a retainer letter. There's some things like, bill of cost, statement of activities, could be settlement statements or statement of accounts for both trust and general, giving them an idea of what has happened in their trust and general in a nutshell. They don't want to sit and read 5 long pages and understand, oh, this is what I have paid as a retainer, this is what you've deducted as your legal fee, this is what you've deducted as your disbursements. But beyond that, giving them a statement in a nutshell, letting them know that this is what came in, this is what went out within one page, is what we say is statement of accounts for both trust and general. So such documents definitely give a better impression of you in front of their eyes. So make sure you're on top of these, programs or softwares, what is available in them. Try to use as much as possible for your client satisfaction and experience. Giving them a very quality related work is even more important. At the same time, the experience overall that you've built into is also really important for your business process. So legal accounting software makes sure that you are able to issue all of these statements that help you and your client to remove any misunderstandings and ensure that everything is intact. Right? So making sure that you're able to personalize their experience, overall experience, and provide them with consistent support and give them that consistent experience. That is what customer experience is all about. That is why we say customer experience is about multi-touch point experience, that it doesn't stop with just contacting them once. It doesn't stop with just talking to them once. It's about multi-touch point experience. So giving them that experience consistently from day one when they reach out to you to the last day when you're giving them a thank you note or a closure letter and asking them for a feedback or testimonial. So that is the journey of a customer experience. And I leave it there while we have to go ahead and see what is user experience. So there again, user experience is just a broader perspective of customer experience. While we all see that uh, customer experience is something where there's multi-touch point with the customer, user experience is also something that has happened due to the high productivity of um, the multi-touch points, that they're being satisfied, the quality that you have delivered, the quality of service rather that you have delivered, the efficiency in handling each and every correspondence or each and every, let's say, documents that you've exchanged with them by using proper document management tool. Could be a simple DocuSign that you have sent them to easily sign and send it back with very smooth collaboration that you've powered with, provides a nice experience to your customers. So this is something that you're able to probably integrate with a software, or of course pay and get something of your own, but at least you're able to provide it to your client and have them reach out to you and provide you with the details very conveniently. And in today's world, there are so many things that is becoming automated. There are so many things such as even collecting payments online, where there are so many integrated payment methods that people use. They don't have to literally walk into your office to swipe a credit card, but just simply send them a link with the invoice or your retainer receipt or your retainer agreement, and have them click on that link and make the payment online. So this is something that would probably enhance and speeden up certain processes, and also save overall time for all, instead of having to send an invoice, wait for the client to come into your office and make a credit card payment, or wait for them to send you an email transfer. Instead, if there's a tiny link that is available on the invoice or any other document that you're planning to use to collect the money, just that clicking on that link makes so much difference and convenience that you're providing to the client. So user experience definitely leaves the most long-lasting footprint of your business in their mind, and they will want to recommend, refer, or even come back themselves to you for several services in the future. So make sure that any document that you're probably sending to the client, ensure it's being branded, ensure it's being sent through a very convenient channel of communication or correspondence, and on top of that, making sure that there is also various methods to automate certain things such as payments or getting the signatures online, basically using today's technology to, or rather implementing today's technology in your business. It could be simple voice, voice over IP protocol, which is where you're able to simply receive voice messages converted to text messages, so that you can reach out to your client more faster, and instead of just letting go of that missed call and not being able to reach out to them on time, or from the time the receiving the voice message to the time reaching out to them, or sending them a client portal link to do the client intake form, or which is through web intake, obviously, and not having to force them to come into your office, especially considering this post-COVID, things are all going online, where, the web intake, digital signature, integrated payment method, all of these are some things that you can possibly adapt, or you should possibly adopt and have them as part of your user experience that you're providing to the client. While we all know, again, taking Starbucks as an example, Starbucks provides you buy it in store. At the same time, they also have order online and pick it up, using drive-through option. And they also, that's providing the, that's leaving the clients with an option where, they're not forced to go into the store. They don't have to, on a winter day, let's say, dress up thoroughly and go stand there and get the coffee and come back, and by the time they're out, it's probably cold. So, it's more convenient sitting in your car, just driving through and picking up the order that you've already ordered online using the app, collecting the points, making sure you use the gift cards. There's so many ways for ease of use rather over here for the user experience, and also more clarity. They're able to take a call based on the options that are available for the client. So user experience is way beyond what the clients want, and they're able to understand that the overall experience, from the time the branding happens to the time customer experience, while it comes to user experience, they've already experienced multiple times the services with you. So yes, so BX, CX, UX is definitely a combination of BX, CX, and coming to PX, which is definitely one of the most final outcomes of experiences of your client. You're able to definitely relate the product experience, like I already said, with various products that we've all purchased, where there are different experiences that we all go through. There's one thing that definitely is important here about product experiences, the overall satisfaction of your customer. There could be sometimes where, let's say the branding with advertising or with the logos on your documents or with the social media presence, one or two could not be possible, or you're not having the presence. But at the same time, you're able to set it right, or compensate it with a great user experience and let's say customer experience, by getting back to them on time, by providing them various channels of communication, giving them an ease to make the payments. So it can be definitely compensated, but the overall experience of the client or your customer needs to feel that at the end of the day, this is what they wanted, this is what they meant to have as a service. And this definitely requires a very strong business process, right from the time you are branding your firm, to the time you're showing your social media presence, to the time you're able to do the client intake forms online, or make it very creative with the different media presence or different channels of communications. But what is more important than all for a product experience is the consistency, quality, and overall satisfaction. So that there's repeated customer service and referral here. They are able to refer you, they're able to come back to you for another service. And at the same time, the product experience leaves them with a great memory and feel for them to, give you a good suggestion, give you maybe a good feedback, and, make sure that the reviews that they write online about you, or the reviews that they provide to the friends or relatives, are amazing. So the product experience is nothing but overall experience of the client, and they are able to relate to different services that you're providing them so that they have it in your mind, whether you're doing family law or if you're doing criminal law or you're doing, let's say, wills and estate, they're able to keep it in your mind, keep it in their mind and come back to you for another experience or for referring you to another friend of theirs. So product experience, if you take, for example, again, and right in front of you, if you take Starbucks here, we all know that Starbucks serves both hot, cold, could be some different drinks that they provide. But on this specific day that you feel like drinking a cold coffee on a summer morning, but at the same time, they also give you a choice. They also give you an option. On a winter morning, you feel like having something hot. You feel like hot chocolate, but still Starbucks comes to your mind because you know that Starbucks provides you with variety of options and the quality and the satisfaction that you receive. I mean, I'm not a Starbucks brand ambassador here, for example. I'm just taking Starbucks because this is what was available in our slide presentation. Maybe the previous presenter really loved Starbucks, but I'm also a Starbucks fan. So just letting you all know that it is much beyond the experience and satisfaction. The overall experience is what we call here as product experience, so that they are left with an impression that it is not just for one thing, but for several things they want to come back to you and experience that again. So just quickly recapping what we did over the last 50 minutes almost. We are here trying to talk about how can you ensure the brand experience, customer experience, user experience, and product experience is as high as possible it could be for your law office, right? So there's several things that we discussed today, right from the time your office's branding to the time receiving a testimonial or a thank you note to your client or sending a thank you note to your client. There are so many of these processes that goes through, so many of these steps rather you go through along with them. It is very important that you revisit all of these at your office. You could have started your firm, let's say, very recently now, or it could have been 3 years ago, but it's still okay to go back and revisit certain points that you see here about your branding. Go and check your logo, go and check your banner, make sure that your phone numbers, your addresses, your email IDs, your website information or link, everything is up to date or rather updated from time to time, and ensuring that you've adopted all of these recent technologies that we discussed today. If you take right from the time social media presence to using integrated payment solutions and having a practice management tool to generate all these documents that we discussed today to provide the customer touchpoint service or to provide customer facing documents very easily, more appealing, more creative, and also ensuring that you're following all the legal accounting that you could do in order to satisfy your client with all the information they would like to have readily available when they need to know what is available in their trust account to the time what is available in the general account, and implementing all of these to improve and make sure there's always room for you to improve, and just revisit all the points that we discussed today for BX, CX, UX, and PX, and I'm sure that you will be able to achieve that high for your law office. And let's probably see how you could use a program like uLaw to quickly see all of these. If you have a program like uLaw, are you able to achieve this Hi, and that's what I want to show you within the next 5-6 minutes. And I'm sure all of you who are using uLaw have experienced this branding with logo and also banner. If you're an existing user of uLaw but you're not aware of this, I'm sure you can personalize your logo and signature and banner. Make sure if you need help, reach out to us on support@uLawPractice.com. My colleague would be entering that information here shortly. But just letting you all know, if you're not an existing user of uLaw, uh, I'm going to showcase you how well you can use this program to, reach out to your clients in a better manner, and of course, improvise the style of documents that you're providing them. Uh, let's take, for example, the client intake earlier used to happen while your client comes into the office and you manually you give them a sheet with all the details that you want from them, and then you manually enter these details yourself, to the time where you could just simply download a client intake form and send it to them and ask them to fill it out, which is obviously through online method. And to the time now where we've gone one more step further and create a client portal link, enter the client's email address, provide with the secret key, and generate the portal link. Send them through an email. You can email only the client, you can email it to yourself and forward it to them, or you can also email both of you at the same time. So this is a very recent approach where during COVID times, when people could not come into the office or when people could not meet each other, we created a portal where you can just simply send them a link directly from the program, which is going to help them to save time, look more appealing, because the emails that uLaw sends out are more nicely designed. It looks professional, so you don't have to even spend time doing all this yourself. But there's more than that, where when you go into matters, it's about creating the files. While you go one step further, you are doing the docketing. You could use the speech to text, where you want to record what you're talking and the correspondence that you had with your client, and ensuring all of them are docketed, making sure that you use speech to text. Whatever I just spoke now, probably over the last 10 seconds, you just quickly got recorded and got converted into text and goes as a description. The time has gone by where you have to sit and type all these words, to the time where you just have to speak into the dialog box and you're able to convert it to text. So this is something that will help you to enhance your speed, enhance your touch points with your client, enhance your overall experience that you're providing to your client. And some things more than that is about, again, giving them various statements and documents that are readily available. It doesn't have to always be invoice and receipt. There are things more than invoice and receipt that a client would like to see, understand what is happening in their trust account plus general account. Instead of sending a 5 long page, send them a simple document like this. This is a user experience. This is what we call the user experience, right? Overall, um, the multi-touch point, where they are being they witness that it doesn't stop with a client intake form or a retainer agreement, but it goes beyond that, and you send them the statement of accounts, you send them the trust plus general ledger, and you also send them various other documents and statements that they would really want to know about. Beyond, these are all beyond compliance documents. Of course, client intake form and retainer letter and opening letter is all there. But yes, there are other statements also. But ending it with a nice closing letter, giving them a thank you note, again, is most important of all. Ensuring that you have also collected a nice testimonial from them or a referral link, providing them a link with certain details where they can refer you to their friends is also a great idea to put under your closing letter or your closure letter rather. So this is where all of these things where there's room for automation, there's more information and various channels of representation that takes place while you use a practice management tool. So I would highly recommend you to invest and improvise, repeat it, so that there's today what we have is also not the end of it. There's always room for improvement. uLaw is constantly improvising. We're also bringing in at par with what is available in today's world. So making sure you're able to docket your time, docket your details, put them in a nice invoice or receipts, and put all the details into the respective documents and send it to your client and make sure that they feel really happy seeing them. That is the part of overall product experience. That is, in fact, the last, I would say, that is the most important of all, because product experience is what leaves as a final impression in your client's mind. And when they experience such a thing with your service, there are high chances that would make them come back to you, that would make them refer you to your client, that would make them leave a nice testimonial about your services. So this is where we say, make sure that all that you have done from the time you intake the client to the time you have completed the service with a closure letter, everything is readily available in a program like ours that you can use in no time and that you can generate in no time to provide to your client. This is what we probably wanted to share with you so that you could go back and achieve this BX, CX, UX, and PX. Try it out, try and implement it. You all need any help with any of these that we discussed today, please reach out to us on support@uLawPractice.com. I'll take a couple of minutes to reach out to chat box and see if there's any questions. And if you all have any specific question on any one of these components that we discussed today, please feel free to email us. And my colleague is also sharing other important links that I would like all of you to take a look at. If you want to copy it, please go ahead and use the chat window to copy all the links. And I hope you all find today's topic as helpful as it is that I thought it would be. And if you all have any suggestions and any comments from today's topic or any other topic that we've been discussing every Friday from 2 to 3 p.m., I request all of you to, again, put it on the comment box, and we'll be happy to, look into it so that everyone else is also benefited like you are. And there's always room for improvement, right? The same VX, CX, UX, and PX applies to uLaw as well. So please feel free to comment on the chat window, and we'll be happy to look into it and get back to you over probably email ID, because we request you to leave your email along with the comment, and we'll be happy to assist. But thank you all for joining in today's session. I'd rather stop the recording here to save a little bit of time for the viewers while they're viewing it, but I will still keep the floor open for more questions. I'm assuming all of you have enjoyed today's session. If there's anything that I could update on this topic, please let me do that. kindly comment on the chat window. Thank you.